The fluorescent lights of TechCore Solutions hummed overhead as I crawled under yet another desk to fix another printer connection. From somewhere above me came the familiar sound of stifled laughter and whispered comments. There goes James again, the highest-paid computer repair guy in Silicon Valley. If they only knew. My name is James Chen, and for the past 18 months, I've been living a double life that was about to spectacularly collide with itself. To my coworkers at TechCore Solutions, I was just the oddball IT support guy who chose to work part-time despite being overqualified. What they didn't know was that I was gathering intelligence for what would become the most advanced cybersecurity system in the world. James called Marcus from marketing, his voice carrying that particular tone reserved for people he considered beneath him. When you're done playing with cables, my laptop needs updating. I nodded politely, adding his laptop to my mental map of TechCore's network vulnerabilities. Every simple tech support call was an opportunity to understand how real employees interacted with security systems, how they created weaknesses despite the best protocols. The truth was, I needed TechCore far more than they needed me. Not for the modest pay or the health insurance, but for something far more valuable, real-world testing grounds. Every day, I watched how actual users bypassed security measures, created passwords, handled sensitive data. Every mistake, every shortcut, every workaround. They were all teaching me how to build something better. What my colleagues didn't know was that at night, in a converted warehouse across town, I ran Quantum Shield, a cybersecurity company that had just closed a $300 million funding round. Our security system was already protecting some of the largest banks and tech companies in the world, all while learning and adapting to human behavior patterns. "Hey James," Sophie from HR called out, "the CEO's presentation isn't working. Can you be a dear and fix it before the client meeting?" I checked my watch. Exactly 1 hour before Richard Park, CEO of Global Bank, was scheduled to arrive for a pitch meeting. TechCore had been pursuing Global Bank's business for months, desperate to land a major financial client. What TechCore didn't know was that Global Bank was already using Quantum Shield's security system. In fact, we just stopped a sophisticated cyber attack that would have cost them millions. The irony of my situation wasn't lost on me. While TechCore's executives prepared PowerPoint presentations about theoretical security solutions, I was actively protecting billions in assets through systems I'd designed. But maintaining my cover was crucial. Understanding how traditional companies approach security helped me build better defenses. I made my way to the conference room, where the executive team was frantically trying to make their presentation work. Their tension was palpable. This meeting could make or break the company's financial sector ambitions. Finally, Marcus muttered as I entered, "Try not to embarrass us in front of the client, okay? Just fix the tech and disappear." I fixed their presentation in minutes, a simple driver issue, while covertly noting how many confidential files were casually displayed on their unsecured laptops. This was exactly why I'd started Quantum Shield. Traditional companies simply didn't understand modern security threats. My phone buzzed quietly, a message from Dr. Sarah Jean, my chief security architect at Quantum Shield. "Global Bank attack analysis complete. Park wants to discuss expansion of our services. Heading to their offices now." I smiled slightly, knowing that Richard Park wasn't going to their offices. He was coming here, though not for the reason TechCore expected. The morning continued normally, or at least what passed for normal in my unusual situation. I fixed computers, updated software, and quietly observed as the company prepared for their big pitch. Every now and then, my phone would buzz with updates from Quantum Shield's actual operations center, where we were monitoring cyber threats across 3 continents. "They're going to love our presentation," I overheard Marcus telling the CEO. "Our security solution is years ahead of anything else on the market." I suppressed a laugh, remembering how Quantum Shield had already identified 14 critical vulnerabilities in TechCore's proposed system. But that knowledge wasn't why I was here. I needed to understand why intelligent, experienced professionals could be so blind to real security threats. The answer was becoming clear: they were solving the wrong problem. Traditional security companies focused on building walls, while modern threats required adaptive, learning systems that could evolve faster than the threats themselves. At exactly 2 p.m., Richard Park strode into TechCore's offices. Tall, impeccably dressed, and radiating authority, He was immediately surrounded by eager executives. I stayed in the background, apparently absorbed in fixing a nearby workstation. Before we begin, Park announced, I'd like to discuss something remarkable that happened this morning. Our bank was targeted by a highly sophisticated cyber attack, one that could have cost us upwards of $50 million. The TechCore executives shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't how they'd hoped to start the meeting. But, Park continued, it was stopped instantly by the most impressive security system I've ever seen. A system that didn't just block the attack, but adapted in real time to prevent future variants. Marcus stepped forward smoothly. Mr. Park, that's exactly the kind of protection our solution offers. Really? Park interrupted, his eyes scanning the room. Then he saw me, and his professional demeanor cracked into a genuine smile. James, I didn't expect to find you here. Why didn't you tell me you were consulting for TechCore? The room went silent. Marcus's mouth opened and closed without sound. The CEO looked between Park and me in confusion. I stood up slowly, straightening my posture and letting the carefully maintained facade of the humble IT guy fall away. Hello, Richard. Actually, there's something I should explain to everyone. The conference room screens flickered to life, but instead of TechCore's prepared presentation, they displayed Quantum Shield's security dashboard, the real-time threat monitoring system I'd spent years developing. Let me show you what happened this morning, I said, my voice carrying an authority that made Marcus step back involuntarily. At 4:23 am, a coordinated attack was launched against Global Bank's network from servers in 6 countries. The screens showed an elegant visualization of the attack pattern, the kind of interface that had made Quantum Shield famous in cybersecurity circles. Impossible, Marcus sputtered. You're just a support. You can't have access to. Actually, Richard Park interrupted. James is being modest. He's the founder and CEO of Quantum Shield, the company that's been protecting our entire global network for the past year. The silence in the room was deafening. TechCore's executives stared at their screens, watching as my system displayed its capabilities. Every feature they'd been planning to pitch was already implemented in more sophisticated ways than they'd imagined possible. But why? TechCore's CEO finally managed. Why work here as its support? I switched the display to show 18 months of collected data, because the biggest security weakness in any system isn't the technology, it's how people actually use it. Working here showed me exactly how employees interact with security measures in the real world. The data told the story: password patterns, security workarounds, unauthorized software installations. Everything I quietly observed while playing the role of humble IT support. Every time I fixed a printer or updated a laptop, I learned something valuable about human behavior. That knowledge is built into Quantum Shield's core architecture. Dr. Sarah Zhang chose that moment to enter the conference room, impeccably dressed and carrying a tablet with our latest security metrics. The morning's attack analysis is complete, she announced. The new behavioral patterns have already been integrated into the defense matrix. Marcus had turned an interesting shade of pale. All those times you fixed my computer were opportunities to understand why smart, capable professionals often bypass security measures. I completed his thought. That insight is what makes our system different. It doesn't just create barriers, it adapts to how people actually work. Richard Park nodded approvingly. That's why we chose Quantum Shield. James didn't just build better security, he built security that understands human nature. The next hour was a blur of revelations. I explained how Quantum Shield's AI-driven system learned from user behavior, adapting its protections in real time while remaining unobtrusive. Every example was drawn from situations I'd observed at TechCore, though I kept individual details anonymous. Your proposed system, I said gently to TechCore's stunned development team, focuses on perfect world scenarios. But I've watched how people actually handle security protocols. The real world is messier, more human. Sarah displayed metrics showing Quantum Shield's success rates, billions in prevented losses, thousands of attacks stopped before they could cause damage, all because we built security that worked with human behavior instead of against it. So what happens now? TechCore's CEO asked quietly. I assume you're here to take over our market share. I shook my head. Actually, I have a different proposal. I pulled up a new presentation, one I prepared months ago. TechCore has something valuable: experience in traditional enterprise software and an established client base. What you lack is next-generation security capability. The room grew silent as they realized what I was suggesting. A partnership? Marcus asked incredulously. After how we treated you. This isn't about hurt feelings or revenge, I replied. It's about building something better. TechCore's enterprise experience combined with Quantum Shield's adaptive security could create solutions neither company could develop alone. Over the next few hours, the shape of a potential collaboration emerged. TechCore would integrate Quantum Shield's security system into their enterprise software, while we would gain access to their extensive client network. Both companies would maintain their independence while working together on next-generation solutions. As lawyers began drafting preliminary agreements, I found myself alone with Marcus in the break room. He was staring at his coffee cup, processing the day's events. I don't understand, he said finally. You could have revealed yourself at any time. Made us all look foolish. Why didn't you? I thought about all the lessons learned while playing the underestimated it guy. Because success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something that makes everyone better. The partnership announcement sent shockwaves through the tech industry. Traditional enterprises suddenly had access to cutting-edge security, while Quantum Shield could scale its innovations faster than ever. 6 months later, I stood in our new joint development center, watching teams from both companies working together. The culture had shifted dramatically. TechCore's expertise in enterprise systems blended with Quantum Shield's innovative approach, creating solutions neither company could have developed alone. Sarah joined me at the observation window. The new behavioral learning algorithms are exceeding all projections, she reported. Turns out your undercover work provided insights we couldn't have gotten any other way. I nodded, thinking of all the small observations that had shaped our technology. Every frustrated user, every bypassed security measure, every shortcut, they had all contributed to building something that actually worked in the real world. The oldest support desk where I'd spent so many hours was now a testing center, where new features were evaluated based on real user behavior. Marcus, surprisingly, had become one of our strongest advocates, using his marketing skills to help others understand the importance of human-centered security. 1 year after the revelation that changed everything, we gathered for the launch of our first joint product. The presentation was held in TechCore's main conference room, the same room where my cover had been blown. Security isn't just about technology, I explained to the assembled journalists and industry analysts. It's about understanding how people work, how they think, how they make decisions under pressure. Sometimes the best insights come from places you least expect. Richard Park, now a member of our joint advisory board, smiled knowingly. Like from the it guy crawling under desks. The room laughed, but the point was made. True innovation often requires seeing things from unexpected perspectives, understanding problems from the ground up. That evening, as I packed up my old IT support tools, kept as a reminder of where it all started, Marcus stopped by my office. You know, he said thoughtfully, I finally understand why you did it this way. We never would have believed the problems with our approach without seeing them ourselves. I picked up my ancient support laptop, now a sort of trophy. Sometimes the best way to change things is from the inside, one small observation at a time. The laptop still had all my old IT support tickets, each one a lesson in how people really interact with technology. Those lessons had built something revolutionary, not because of complex code or advanced algorithms, but because they came from genuine understanding of human behavior. That's the thing about true innovation. It's not always about who has the most impressive title or the fanciest presentation. Sometimes it's about being willing to look at problems from the ground level, to understand the real challenges people face every day. And sometimes, the best insights come from being the person everyone underestimates. As I locked up my office, I could see teams still working in the development center, building the future of cybersecurity, not just with advanced technology, but with deep understanding of human nature. Understanding earned one IT support ticket at a time. That's the real legacy of my time as the underestimated IT guy, not just a successful company or a game-changing security system, but a reminder that true innovation comes from really seeing the problems you're trying to solve, no matter how humble the perspective might seem. And that's a lesson worth every printer I had to fix to learn it.